What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fatboy FadeAway Podcast here. Got Tyler McGurk here. Got Casey Breyer here. I'm Darren, of course, on Sunday morning, 6:45 in the morning. Week 1, NFL getting ready to start. We got NBA getting close to the finals here. Got some Major League Baseball heating up here. We got 2 weeks left, basically. I got 2 weeks left until possible fantasy baseball repeat championship on the line there. So big 2 weeks coming up here sports-wise. What's up, guys? How you doing? Steve, I bet you're fired up. You had that Celtics Raptors. That was a big game for you this week. I know you were fired up for it.
My champion is still alive.
That's true.
I got 1 out of 2 in the East, and the West was chalked. So
that was a tough one. Casey, your Raptors got eliminated.
That was a tough game. I felt a little heartbroken. I was like, God, pulling for him, and I was like, God. But it was just tough. I was like, I felt bad because they played their asses off. Like, they tried so hard. They just don't have unfortunately, Siakam just played like dog shit. Yeah. I was just like, if he played like he did against the Warriors, they would I don't even think it would have been close. But
definitely did not give the Warriors type performance. That would have been nice to see last year from Mr. Siakam. That would have been nice. Van Fleet wasn't himself, but we'll get into that series here in a second. I wanted to we wanted to touch on the NBA first before we kind of get into the NFL, because I know today's the first slate of games, and we're all pretty fired up for that. So we're going to finish with.
Are you ready for some football?
I think I'm going to be. I think I'll save my opinions for the football here in a second, but it's not quite the same enthusiasm I usually have for Week 1. I'll put it that way. That I always feel like it's a little bit of a Christmas Day type feeling that Week 1, but it's not quite the same energy as I had felt before. So, what you guys think about that as well. But for the NBA here, it's kind of an interesting week here, wrapping it, with some more teams getting eliminated here, and just kind of getting down to the final. We're down to the final 6 now. No, final 5 now with the Rockets losing last night. I wanted to kind of go back a little bit to earlier in the week, because we didn't get a chance to talk about it because of the way our podcast times were set up and when they got eliminated. But was the Bucks. And, they came in as the 1 seed, obviously not ideal where you have a pandemic and you lose the big advantage that you're looking to get in home field or home court. The team's a slightly different from where it was 4 months ago. Tyler, you kind of were on it a little early you mentioned last week about how you weren't very impressed with their roster. You thought there were some real flaws in it. You mentioned Bledsoe's lack of shooting. You thought was a real concern. I think you referred to him as like a poor man's Rondo or something like that. I believe that's what you referred to him as, or a poor man's Westbrook, excuse me.
Yeah.
And so Bledsoe, you said was a little flawed. I'm just kind of curious what in these games did you think was flawed? Because I'll give you my thoughts in case I'll let you give your thoughts on the Bucks as well here in a second. But just curious, I wanted to follow up with you since you were right, basically. What was some of that?
I just didn't think they had enough around. Like, there's no real – I think Middleton's a good player, but he's just not a number 2 to win a championship. He might be a number 3, but I think he's more of like a just great bench scorer who could give you 20 a night or be a starter and give you 20 a night. But he's just not the impact player that he doesn't – his defense isn't unreal. And
who is the guy that you're talking about, Tyler, again?
Chris Middleton.
Okay.
Who's their second best player by far. And then it's even a bigger drop-off from there where you have Bledsoe, who can't shoot. He's only, really effective in the open court. And then Brook Lopez, who can't run. So they kind of, make it difficult to play together, I feel like, and be effective. You're either going to be hurt in the half court or because Brook has good offensive game. He's just not athletic enough, and he doesn't rebound well enough offensively or defensively. And then their bench is actually pretty deep, which is why they're so good in the regular season, where they can have a great record, but in the playoffs they'll struggle every year with this roster, in my opinion.
So that kind of leads kind of to kind of where I was going to go with it, and is do the Bucks use him correctly? Sometimes I wonder when I'm watching him play. He's such a freak athletically, but when I see him take shots from 15 feet out, if I was the defense, I would be happy with that. You know what I mean? Like, I would be like, okay, that's a slight victory. As long as he's not wide open, maybe 15 feet wide open all the time.
Yeah.
I'm more scared when he's 10 feet and in because he's usually making like 60% of his shots, if not higher, and getting fouled. I wonder, I know we don't play with a center anymore, Casey, but I'm wondering is there a way for them to incorporate the offense a little bit more to where he can play down low without it just being a traditional, let's dump it down to the post. I just feel like when he starts out with that ball too far out, it's easy for the defense to set that wall up a little bit more. Even if he's 7 feet tall coming down train, if he's got to go 26 feet opposed to 10 feet, I feel like that's a big flaw. And I'm not sure what they do or if they got to get a new coach for that, but I'm just curious to get your thoughts on maybe the way Milwaukee's using him. He's 7'2" and a freak.
I just think they have no shooters. I mean,
yeah.
If you're gonna set up your team with Giannis, I mean, you gotta have shooters. It's like when you have DiVincenzo and Brook Lopez and these guys, and I'm like looking around, I'm like, no wonder they're just packing the paint, because if you kick it out to them, it's like they're all 30% shooters. I mean, Middleton, I think Middleton's actually a really good number 2, but he just to me, he played his ass off. Like he was like the one that stuck out in the series, where it's like he actually kind of rose to the occasion. Like one of the guys. I mean, without Giannis, you're going to get more touches, obviously.
He especially played really well the game that they won in double overtime.
Yeah, and that showed me a lot. I was like, man, he's actually, he's pretty damn good, and you can tell he wants to win. I mean, they all want to win, but you can just tell like that closer, that DNA kind of, okay, he's actually really got it. And then I was like, man, just looking around on the floor, though, I was like, they just have no shooters. Like, in the way they set up their team is like almost like a 1990s like NBA era. Like, their third best shooter is 7 foot. I know that's not like exactly ideal for the 90s, but I'm saying now, like, if your third best shooter is Brook Lopez, that's not good.
Especially I think Milwaukee, don't you think Milwaukee, though, I get what you're saying about the shooting. Tyler, you brought up that too, but I do feel like their shooting maybe just is not as big names. I still feel like they have decent shooters, but I don't feel like their shooters can do the defensive end as well. You know what I mean? They're not both they don't do both things well. Like, Korver is the best shooter they have, right? But he's very flawed defensively.
They still have Joe Alexander, right?
Who?
Joe Alexander.
I know I don't know much familiar, but I know they played Wes Matthews a lot too.
Yeah.
He's a good shooter, but like he's kind of on the downside defense. I'm not saying he's not horrible, but you know what I mean? Like, they don't quite have those, like, I hear what you mean. They're not elite shooters after Korver, and then they're not really elite enough defensively to really offset some of it. And I guess that goes to my next question. Or Tyler, what's your thought on that part of, like, why can't we get the ball to Giannis lower in the post? Like, have we gone so far away from that thought that, like, you got this guy that's like 7'1", and like literally very few people could probably guard him from like 10 feet in. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I just don't get why we don't take advantage of that. It just doesn't make sense to me, especially when Casey just brought up they don't have the shooters to, well, if you're driving and you're kicking it, right? I don't know. Some of that doesn't really make enough sense to me.
I think it's so easy to get it to him at 26 feet and he's still effective that they just don't want it. Like, it's too much effort almost to get it to – they should get it to him from 10 feet because no one – like, I saw some stat where, like, if Giannis gets the ball moving from within 15 feet, he scores, like, over 2 points a shot because of fouls and stuff. It's some, like, ridiculous stat. It couldn't have been over 2, but it was, like, close to 2. And I was like, holy smokes. Like, why is he not, like, diving on pick and roll? He should be involved in more pick and roll, not handling the ball. And
like, if he was Bledsoe, like, if, like, use Bledsoe to his advantage a little bit more, right? Or, like, have him be have Giannis set picks for Bledsoe, and then you got Bledsoe who's really good at finishing. I mean, that's, like, his best thing is he's, like, he's like a buff little dude that can, like, he's an athletic guy.
And the whole team's going to collapse on Giannis when he dives to the hoop. So it's going to open up the Korvers and the Wes Matthews.
My dream scenario that I'm thinking of, I'm thinking the Warriors trade that second-round draft pick and Draymond Green for Giannis.
Second-round draft? You mean the second pick?
Or second pick overall. And
I'll take the second round. Milwaukee, you can do that.
Yeah.
I would do that in a heartbeat, man.
Casey, that kind of leads – good segment there. That kind of leads to my next question there. I don't believe that free agents will play there. I think you would feel the same way, Tyler. I believe you'll feel – I don't think anybody is going to go sign to play in Milwaukee. That's a top 15 player, more than likely, right, unless it's Giannis who's already there. Giannis has the advantage of making $80 million more to stay there. But a lot of these top 5 guys can make that money easily with Nike or somewhere else. So, Casey, you brought up the point of him possibly leading to the Warriors. I was thinking that is an option. The only thing that I'm thinking with the Warriors, I don't think the Warriors, though, would have enough to offer. I would think other teams would have more to offer than the Warriors, because I was thinking about what would be the best package they could offer. I would think Wiggins would have to be involved because of his contract. But Milwaukee's not excited about getting Wiggins. They're just doing it for the contract. Maybe you're not probably getting the pick this year, because my guess is Giannis is still going to be there another year. So maybe they get maybe Minnesota is horrible for some reason. The Warriors get that first pick next year. So to me, the best package the Warriors could possibly get, you have to be a first pick in Andrew Wiggins. Is that enough to get Giannis? And would it have to come down to Giannis saying, I want to come to the Warriors for that to happen? What do you think, Case?
I think it's very possible. I mean, especially like the way they're losing. Like, you don't hear anything from his camp. Like, you don't hear any trade rumors from like him at all. He's pretty quiet, and he's pretty old school. Like where I could see him actually staying in Milwaukee, because he doesn't really, I don't know, he just didn't grow up in the AAU. He didn't grow up in that kind of clique with all these other guys. He's just kind of like does himself.
Yeah.
But at some point, I think you kind of look around and you're like, man, I just want to freaking win, and I'm playing my ass off, and these guys around me aren't very good. Like, and it's like, it's just like, do you trust the organization to build that team around you? Because when I look at that roster, I'm like, I don't see them making it any further than in these finals at best.
And that's why I don't think that Milwaukee, when they do go to trade him, you hit on this, I just don't think Milwaukee's going to look at the Warriors offer and be like, that's going to be enough to get it done. Unless he literally says, you need to trade me to this team. And then they're kind of handcuffed at some sense. You know what I mean? Then maybe Milwaukee's a little handcuffed. Like, I am not signing with you. Trade me to the Warriors. Like that, I don't know. I just feel like there's going to be other teams possibly with more to offer. T, what do you think on the chances of him maybe ended up with the Dubs?
I don't see him going to the Dubs, but he could. I mean, Myers is a genius. He's made weird things happen, like with Iguodala. How they got him still blows my mind. Blows my mind. But like, he's talked about living in Athens, Greece, and being like Milwaukee's like a king, like having a kingdom to myself. Like, I love it here. And he said yesterday, I don't walk away from challenges. Or when they lost, he said, I don't walk away from challenges. You won't see me asking for a trade. But I heard all that from Kevin Durant, and
from all other
like
teams.
Same old, yeah. Like they say it all the time until they know they can't win. So we'll see.
Will be interesting to see then, huh?
Yeah, I don't. Well, yeah, very interesting.
Do you think he stays with Milwaukee then, long term?
No, not long. I think I'll stay like till the trade deadline, and we'll see what happens.
I kind of feel like Miami's a sneaky team that he could end up on.
Pat Riley does magic also, so.
Him and Jimmy, I could see Giannis playing. Who doesn't? I could see Giannis playing well with Jimmy. That would be a deadly combination.
How upsetting would that be for Harrow? He'd be like, I'm in Miami and I have to go to fucking Milwaukee. God damn it!
He got traded.
Well, he'd be one of the pieces. They're not.
Like, yeah, that would not be fun.
Could you imagine playing practice if you're another player with Giannis and Jimmy Butler? I'd be like, man, this is hell boot camp every day.
I know, for sure. That'd be crazy. So my last point, Milwaukee, we'll move on here to the real ones that are still in. I'll make it quick. I think I said this like a couple months ago in our podcast, or when this thing started, is I don't trust Budenholzer for the playoffs. I don't know what it is. His teams never seem to they get out of the first round here and there, but I don't know. They just don't seem to have any juice to them when it comes to playoff time. So I'm not saying they need to mix it up. I'm not a big fan of what they were running there at the end with Giannis 30 feet out. That was just not a big fan of that stuff. So that's my last thing on the Bucks there and Giannis. Hopefully you end up on the Warriors, big guy.
I do have to say though, quick little snippet here. I told you Donovan sucked, and that's why the Thunder fired him. That play call.
I guess the GM brought in a couple bottles of wine, and they told nice good stories and just had good old time before he got fired too. Like they were like, it's like they knew the firing was coming, and they basically got hammered before they.
Sounds like a hit in the. Sounds like a hit in The Godfather. They warmed you up and then put a bullet in your head.
I'm gonna get you drunk. I'll get you out of here.
They lay a plastic sheet on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was only box wine, though.
Oh God.
All right, so let's get to the teams that just finished up here. Let's get to your Celtics real quick. Taste of your Raptors. Man, what a series that was. I've not been a big fan of the Eastern Conference basketball for a while here. It's just some of the play, but now they're starting to get some players in here, especially the Celtics. They're a little bit more young, a little bit more exciting. The Raptors, I want to start with them first because I feel like they're the champions, so I want to give them the proper respect before I move on to the Celtics and praise them for their accomplishment here. But I just want to give the Raptors some credit here. Like, Kate, you kind of touched on it before we started here. I can appreciate the heart of a champion that they showed, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they could have easily basically buckled down and, like, basically threw in the towel in this series and got swept 4-0. And, nobody would have said anything because Leonard left. And, nobody would have thought anything of it. But I really appreciate their competitive spirit, their heart, the 2-0. I know that, you get lucky with that shot there, but they stuck in that game to win Game 3. Lowry would really show. I was not the biggest Lowry fan, I guess, going into this. He showed me a little bit more than maybe I gave him credit for before. And I just think that they just need to get proper respect. I mean, no Leonard, and they still they competed like a champion should. There were some flaws on their team for sure. We'll talk about that here in a second too. But I just think that they not every champion goes out like that, and so I appreciate that part of them. Did you guys notice that as well with them?
Yeah, I mean, I
Case, you kind of noticed that. You said a little.
Yeah, that's why I picked them to win Game 7, just because, I was like, they got that, I don't know, you got that championship pedigree, you've been there before, and I honestly, I think if Lowry didn't foul out, I think they would have won that game, but that's just my opinion. I know that's kind of a little far-fetched, but I think when you lose your lead.
That's somebody that picked them to win by 3, probably.
That's true. That is very true.
So with that said about them, being a heart of a champion, playing well, let's get to a couple points with them before I move to the winner of this game. Case Siakam, I don't even know if he played a good game. I mean, maybe like one good game of the series. Like, he was horrific this series. He was not. He had moments, right? He had a couple nice moves, but nothing impactful like he was in the finals last year or previous series. He just wasn't very good.
He was terrible, and I can't remember who was calling the game, but I was like, dude, shut up. He's like, Jaylen Brown's doing a great job. I'm like, and Klay Thompson wasn't? Like, are you going to say Klay Thompson's a worse defender than Jaylen Brown? Like, I don't really get where you're coming from. He's getting his same shots that he was doing over there. He just wasn't making them. Like, yeah. I don't think in the NBA, like, you can't even contest a shot anymore without fouling. I mean, you know, basically you can, like, go by him. Or
really make it hard, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, man, this is straight asinine. It's probably Stan Van Gundy, I'm sure. But I was just like, I can't stand that guy. But that's a whole nother.
I'm Jeff. I'm not a big fan of Jeff. I like Stan. I don't mind. It's Jeff. I know you both are Jeff.
I can't stand Stan. I can't stand Stan.
They both came out of the same nutsack. They both suck.
I don't think the father came broke. Oh, I teach you.
But no, I can't understand for the life of me what
struggled so much there.
I'm just.
Well, I mean, Brown had something to do with it. He is a really good defender.
No, I mean, he's super athletic. He tries really hard, and I think honestly that's why he sucked on offense, because he tried so hard. And I think that's where the Celtics' depth actually came into a factor. I know the Raptors are pretty deep, but I mean, after
Celtics,
you're
right.
After Norman Powell, you got Thomas, but Thomas is like a really, really lesser Kyle Korver.
Hey, and with the Raptors,
who the hell is Thomas? I don't even know who Thomas is.
He's a white dude, 24, the shooter, or not 24, but the shooter.
He didn't play a whole lot. He played like a few spot minutes here or there.
I didn't even see him on the court.
He hit a 3 yesterday. Gosh, just because you're a white guy on the court, you start to see it. It's horrible.
He's a ghost.
Okay, so with the Raptors, I want to get into one last thing about them before we move to the Celtics. That last possession they took with Van Fleet dribbling out 15 seconds of the clock and then taking the worst 3-point attempt. If that wasn't a rec league possession, I don't know what was. That'd be like something I could see like our team doing just because we have no practice and somebody on our team, the ball hogs, just dribbling it out and like maybe not our team, but you can see somebody doing that, right? And just shooting it for no reason, being like, what the heck? Like, that was like I had no sense. I was like, what is he doing?
That's why I said that challenge was so stupid on Lowry, because they could have called a timeout after that.
So
still had one more for the next. So I didn't understand why they challenged.
Yeah, that wasn't a very smart challenge. I mean, I understand the frustration in challenging it, but it probably just wasn't going to get reversed. It probably hurt him on that time. But man, Casey, you have to be thinking that was. I mean, as a point, what is he? Would they just say, okay, man? I know Lowry was fouled out, but like maybe at least a screen somewhere or something.
That's why I was watching. I was like, they really need Kyle Lowry right now. I was like, someone that has like, I don't know what Fred VanVleet was doing. I was just like watching. I'm just like, what the hell are you doing? And I was just like, shoot it. Like, if you're just gonna dribble around, like at least save some time. Like,
it was a horrible shot. It was like a floater, like just threw it up in the air. It was like way up there.
His best chance was getting fouled on a like over contest.
It wasn't even like a horrible shot.
I was flabbergasted. I was just like, what the hell is going on? I was like, dude, just fucking shoot it. Like, if you're going to take that long and take that crap of a shot, you should just shot it from half court with no one on you.
That's oh, man. All right, so the Raptors, you're done. You're fishing now. We gave you your respect. You went out like champs. My guess is you don't win a championship maybe for a long time in your franchise history. So enjoy this one for a while, and you'll probably not get one for another 50 years. So
I want to shout out Norman Bates' pal for he's just, I want him on my team. That's what I came out of this series with the Raptors as a bench player.
We should also shout out Casey's friend James for walking up to him with a Portland Blazers shirt when he was on the Raptors at the time, you said still, or what team was he on?
That was after they beat the Warriors in the championship.
Oh, and he walked up to him and asked him for a picture over there.
Yeah.
That's cool. I know when you sent me that picture, I was like, who the heck is that guy? It's Norman Powell. Guess it shows how much we know. Yeah, he turned into somebody. So Tyler, let's get to the
I remember
Celtics.
he killed Stephen Curry's like first game back. Like Norman Powell killed the Warriors. So I knew who he kind of you can't put.
Yeah, and he had like 46 points or something like that. Curry,
I don't know,
right?
Yeah, Curry tore it up. It was a great game. And Norman Powell was answering. I was like, who the fuck is Norman Powell? And then he did it this playoff series. He was unreal. I was like, all right.
Oh, this is going to get – I'm just going to make this the best up. Well, the Warriors – I went back and saw one of their games when they played the Raptors last year when they had Curry – when they had those injuries in Game 4, was it, or something like that? I always wonder why the Warriors never played that game slower. They always played so fast-paced in that game. But if I were them, I just would have wanted to take – less possessions. But anyways, for another thing, let's get to the Celtics here. James, Tyler, you got to be impressed with your boy Tatum. I mean, the guy is like super efficient with his like Casey. I mean, we were probably rooting for the Raptors a little bit there, but Tatum, he's going to be a beast though. I mean, his efficiency to get the spots is like really good. Like he's really under control, and it seems like his body type, like he seems like he's in like really good shape. I don't know what it is. It just looks like he's like an athlete now, like where he's really under control with everything. And man, in 2 years, when he gets even stronger, like when he fully grows into his body here, this guy's going to be just on another level. Like he's going to be definitely a top 3 player in the league, no doubt about it. When LeBron retires and Curry and those guys leave, he's the next wave for sure. Super impressed. Go ahead, T.
He kind of reminded me of like a young Kobe, except for a little taller. Just the way he could get fouls. Like, sometimes I'd be like, how the hell do they call that a foul? And you see the replay and like, oh, okay. And, like, he just could get anywhere he wanted, and he's a great dribbler for his size. And he just gets the spots, and he's a good shooter. And he just seems like he has that game that it might not be like the stat-stuffing Doncic type games, but it just – the points just seem more important.
What do you think?
Like,
What do you think? The Celtics just were able to. Well, what put them over the top was the Raptors. In your opinion, they just kind of were a little bit more in that Game 7, just a little bit more.
I mean, I don't know if the boxing one early by Nurse was genius because it took Kemba out of the game the rest of the series or the rest of the game, or if it was stupid because it just gave them 27 points in the first quarter, like easy buckets. So I don't know, if you credit Toronto for taking Kemba out of the game by doing that early, or if you say, "What are you doing?" I don't know, but I don't know what put them over the top. Basically, their fourth quarter was terrible. The way they ran plays, I was like, "This is awful."
I was like, "This is who I have for put him over the top." Mr. Smart. I thought he was exceptional.
He was great defensively.
Yeah, I thought, and even offensively, he was good. I thought he hit some timely.
He hit that great layup.
To me, he's the guy. He would put him over the top defensively in that series, and he's going to be the guy going forward that makes the difference with them. So the Celtics, they move on to play the Heat here. That sets up to me. Go ahead, Case. I'm going to get into the Celtics too here a little bit more, but go ahead.
I was going to say I was impressed with Daniel Tice. I don't know. He played his ass off. I was like, man, this guy is I think if you're gonna go sneaky, put him over the top, he played out of his mind. I was watching the series, I was like, Jesus, man, this guy is everywhere. Alley-oop dunk, blocks, charge, foul. I was just he's just an animal. I was like, man, it was literally I know this is going way over the top, but I felt like he was Draymond Green for a couple games, just involved on every play. And I was just
that's a good call on your part. That's a good call on your part with him being, because he's the type of guy that you completely forget about, but he's the type of guy that you need to win championships, no doubt. That's a good call, because you're right. He does little things really well. That's what he sets really good screens really well. He plays pretty good defense. He's not on the Bogut level of that type of efficiency yet, but he's very solid in that kind of regard. And then his offensive game was pretty good. I think more than okay given the guards he has around him. So that was a good call. That's a really good call on his part. He's come out of nowhere.
Oh, he's dude. I was watching.
I bet Brad Stevens loves that guy.
And you forget too, that Gordon Hayward's not even playing.
Yeah, he might be back this series though.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we'll see how that affects their rotation. That kind of affected it last year a little bit when they got him. So to me, this is the most exciting series we could get in the East. We could get Heat, Celtics. Looking back at it, Raptors, Bucks now, that actually probably wouldn't be that great. You know what I mean? So Celtics Heat to me kind of seems like that's probably got the best chance to be the most exciting one here. My other thing with the Celtics Heat is, Tyler, is this the potential to be the next rivalry for the next 5 years in the East? I mean, they have young rosters. They both have superstar players. They both have very good veteran players, and
superstar coaches.
Both have good coaches and both good organizations and good GMs. Is this a rival? Could this be a rivalry that we see for the next 3 to 5 years, basically?
Jimmy Butler's gonna have to age well, first off, because he's kind of a little older, but he's not old. He's fine. Yeah, I couldn't see why this isn't the next 3 years of Eastern Conference basketball for sure.
They just seem like they're just built to play each other. These two organizations, kind of in some ways.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's another Danny Ainge, Pat Riley. I can't say that frickin' word. Little battle from all the way back to Showtime and
who has the best hair in the league. Who had the best hair back then, and now who has the best hair there. That's one of the best calls there. So I don't know. I just think that's going to be a really good rivalry there going forward. Case, what's a matchup you're kind of looking forward to in this series to see? Maybe it could be individual, maybe it's just a person, maybe it's Mr. Tice. But, what's the matchup? What's kind of something you're kind of looking forward to? Is it the obvious one, Tatum Butler? What's going to get your attention here?
Honestly, I brought him up before, but I think someone's going to get ejected between Bam Adebayo and Daniel Tice. The way they play, They both are so energetic. I'm just like, I can't wait to watch those two go at it. I know it's like a little far off, like compared to like all those players.
No, that's the nerd basketball stuff we like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying like Tatum and Brown and Iguodala. I think Iguodala too will have his moments. I mean, him and Butler, like I think it was like Game 6 or Game 5. I can't recall exactly, but the last 4 minutes, I don't even think anybody touched it besides those two. But just watching Bam Adebayo and Daniel Tice, I'm gonna love that.
That Bam guy is pretty good.
He's really
bad.
Man, how did he drop after? How did he drop to after him and Mitchell were picked right after? He was picked right after Mitchell. It's like, how the heck did those guys drop? And then back to Tatum. How does he go after Markelle Fultz?
Worst trade ever. That might go down as the worst trade ever.
What's that one?
Markelle Fultz and Tatum.
Maybe not the worst, but it's going to be right up there.
He's not even. Markelle Fultz isn't even playing on the team that drafted him.
That's a good point. I
think he's on his third team. No, second. He's still on
the Magic.
Okay, he's on his second.
Casey, you're right. That's one we need to look back. Go for that one for sure. So, Tyler, what do you think for you? What's a good matchup? Casey has a good one there, and Bam and Mr. Daniel Tice. What do we got? What's a matchup? Something you're looking for there?
I want to see how the Heat's two defensive clamps and Jimmy Butler and Iguodala fare against Brown and Tatum. That's going to be the key for me. If they can D them up and get their efficiency down, then Miami's going to win. And if Celtics stay efficient, if the Celtics stay efficient with those two, then Boston will win.
So you have Iguodala, Butler. Do you think Butler's guarding Tatum, or probably Iguodala's guarding Tatum and Butler's probably guarding Brown?
I think it'll switch off at times. It depends on who's going. Like how proud it's whoever Jimmy Butler wants to guard, I think, is he's going to guard.
So much now, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
My kind of sneaker thing to look for is like this kind of like the 6'7" guys on the team. Like how do they perform? Like our like to the Marcus Smarts and like the kind of like the Tices, the Johnsons on Boston. Can they step up and play well? And then on the Heat side, how do your heroes play? How do your Duncan Robinsons perform? Your Dragic, like to me, Dragic is kind of I kind of feel like he's kind of like the sneaky player in this series because like you kind of watching him again, like when he was on Phoenix there for a little bit, like if he goes left, I mean the guy is like unstoppable going left. I mean literally it's unstoppable going left. He's really good. Dragic is really, really good. And so I feel like he's a real big key to their team. So I feel like Hero, Dragic, and Robinson will say a lot for the Heat. For Smart, Hayward, and Tice will be kind of the factors for Boston. Like what kind of trio plays better there?
You're forgetting too. I mean, Derek Jones and Kendrick Nunn aren't that bad either.
Yeah, no, Jones is he's turned into a little bit more than just a dunker.
Yeah, no, I mean they both. I mean, I think they're like 10 deep, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say they're the best 10, but they're definitely capable.
Oh, for sure, they can play 10 people. No, I mean, yeah, no, absolutely. They have 10 legitimate players they can put on the court and feel decent about.
Yeah, that's all.
No, for sure. I think that's so. Tyler, I'll go with you first on this one. Case, I'll ask you the same question, but for the Heat. Tyler, if this happens, Celtics win.
I'd have to say that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have to be efficient. They can't be taking 30 shots and scoring 28 points, 25 points.
Say they have to get 60 points combined.
55 to 6, yeah, around that. 55. I go 55.
To win game.
Yeah, so and Kemba can't play like he did this series. He was god awful in the last 2-3 games.
Only with Boston won on him, for God's sake.
Yeah, but only for a quarter. They stopped after that.
I'm just kidding. Case, question for you then. So Tyler's boss says for the Celtics to be efficient to win this series, Tyler's Tatum and Brown have to average 55 to 60 points, and Walker cannot play like poop. Great insight on that one as well. Casey, if this happens, the Heat win.
They have to average, I'd say, 14 threes a game. 15 threes a game. Because
if they're getting 15, I agree. They're done. Or the Heat are done. Or the Celtics are done.
they have
Well,
to.
the Celtics could make that amount too, though.
Yeah, but I mean, Miami doesn't score as easy in the paint.
That's
like,
true. Yeah.
They got
Dragic.
three guys. Like, yeah, I was gonna say Dragic, Butler, and Bam, but they don't really. I don't know. It's just the others. They have to have the others. They just have to make threes. That's the way they beat Milwaukee.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a good call there.
The two white boys have to play.
Predictions. Case, you go first. Series prediction. Who we got here in game?
Last time I went with my gut and kind of bit me in the ass here. But I'm going to ride or die.
Take the other butt cheek off here. Take that.
I know. I have a feeling, and I know in my heart of heart that the Celtics are going to win in 6, but I'm going to go because I love Riles and I love Jimmy Butler and Iguodala play with the Warriors. And I'm going to go with the Heat in 7 because I want to see 7, but Heat in 7.
Don't come back and say, "Oh, well, I said my heart of hearts."
I won't say that.
Celtics in 6. I don't want to hear that.
I left my heart in... No.
All right, so in 7, that's your final say?
That's my final say.
Tyler, Celtics in what?
7.
Celtics 7.
It's gonna be a good series. It's gonna be another good series.
I wrote
What'd
down
you say, Tyler?
Celtics in 7.
Celtics in 7.
7.
Yeah, it'll be a great series.
Two brothers think alike again here. I was on the same page I wrote down before. I just feel like the Heat in 7. I thought the Raptors would take the Celtics in 7. I don't think the Celtics are like just that experienced enough a team to finish teams off early like that. I just feel like they're forced. They'll always go to a game 7 with them, and they are getting a lot of experience in game 7. Tatum already has played 3 game 7s at least. So I got the Celtics in 7. I just think. You
have the Celtics or Heat?
All right, excuse me. I have the Heat in 7. So I have the Heat pulling it out in 7, just like Casey does. So that fun series.
Hope to prove you right again.
I was actually excited for Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I can't remember the last one.
Been a while, put it to you that way.
I guess last year wasn't bad, but it wasn't.
Oh, I forgot about the LeBron versus Lowry and DeRozans. Those were great.
That's not what I said last year.
I'm just joking about the Eastern.
And the best thing that happened in the basketball was LeBron leaving the East.
Well, even when Miami would play the Pacers, even those games just weren't that exciting. I felt. I mean, they would go down to some of them just weren't that great to me. But I don't know what it was. Paul George and David. It's just those games.
Roy Hibbert.
Oh, but Roy, yes, forgot about
George Hill. It was not.
Did they have Stevenson on that team? Lance Stevenson was on that team.
Yeah, he was. He blew on LeBron. Remember? Talking about worst trades ever. George Hill for Kawhi Leonard is. Ugh.
Yeah, that's not a good one. That's not a good one. All right, so before we get to the NFL here, let's finish out the NBA just real quick here.
Speaking of that Kawhi George Hill trade, Indiana could have this Clippers roster almost with Kawhi and Paul George.
Pretty much, they could have had that same roster.
I
don't think either would have wanted to stay in Indiana, but
maybe together they could have.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if the
Mm-hmm.
Sixers had Tatum, Embiid, and Simmons?
No.
Yeah, probably wouldn't be a bad combination there.
Man, dude,
bad combination.
Instead of Markel Fultz, you guys fucked up.
I think we go back in 10 years. You look back on the Sixers. I think you look back, they pretty much blew this decade. If they don't win a championship, they were set up with all those picks to kind of have a better.
If they just had
a better run than what they might have, so we'll see.
I think they would probably win a championship if they had Tatum. Those three, they would all be less than 25.
Yeah, that would be a deadly combination right there. Simmons would be thank goodness I have now another guy that can shoot and can handle the ball. And yeah, that'd be pretty deadly. Hey, with the West real quick. Denver Clippers tonight. Denver really showed me something. Paul Millsap saved their bacon. He came out of nowhere. Just played. the bet played well. Playoff P wasn't to his performance. Leonard always plays efficient, but he just couldn't quite carry him like the way LeBron can kind of carry the Lakers a little bit at times. But the Clippers, I think what's going to be their downside against the Lakers if they get through it, and what could be their downside if they lose to Denver, if somehow that happens, is they don't have a big. Like, their big isn't good. Like, Jokic is, like, having a field day. Like, he's just, like, I mean, I know he's obviously really good, and Zubac isn't a horrible player, but, like, I mean, he's just, like, going to town on anybody he can get. Like, he's getting it on everybody. Like, and the other thing with Jokic is scary, too. I just, for some reason, I'm just loving Jokic the last few games. Is if he's starting to make threes at any rate, I mean, he's going to be, like, really, really tough. Like really tough to guard, especially with him and Murray. Are you guys impressed with Denver at all? I mean,
he's the best center in the game.
I mean, I thought Denver was flawed. I thought they were flawed, and now I'm thinking, man, if they get a better three here, like to me, if Chris Middleton played on Denver, then that might be like Denver. I don't know if that gets Denver to the finals, but I think that makes them like top 2 to 3. That gets them in the mix more to me. Like, that's where I feel like a player, like, they need something like that, more efficient to get them. I don't think right now they're good enough to beat the Warriors, the Clippers, or the Lakers if they're all healthy. That's where I don't feel like they could beat those teams.
What if the Denver offered Bol and Michael Porter for Chris Middleton?
If I was Milwaukee, I would not do that, obviously, because then you're Giannis.
Terrible.
Sure.
I would do that in a heartbeat. I don't want Middleton. I'd do it. If I'm Denver, I'd do it too.
Yeah. So do you think Denver pulls this thing out tonight and forces 7?
No.
Case, you think it ends tonight, or is Denver force 7? My guess is you're going to pick Denver forces 7.
I've been really good at basketball predictions.
Oh, yes, you have.
You're 0 for 3 of the conference finals.
I said besides the Raptors.
No, you missed the Heat.
That was just one series.
Yeah, the Heat.
And you missed Rockets over the Lakers.
No, I chose the Lakers.
Not after game 1.
Yeah, but I mean, I chose them in the series.
Hey, you know what I can say?
I'm not going to go against the greatest player of all time.
Hey,
I recall you saying, I know they have the GOAT, but I'm going to take the Rockets.
The best part about doing the Fatboy FadeAway Podcast is now I
not
can
for the series.
Yes, it was, but okay. We'll continue.
Casey,
no, I did not. I definitely chose the Lakers.
The best part about doing the podcast
I'll record it.
Go to the tape. Let's go to the tape. That's all you can say. Go to the tape, people. Now we can actually say it. That's what.
I'll bet you like $20.
I don't even. I have it.
I'll bet you a McMuffin, and we'll go there right now after.
Well, if you didn't think we had a lot of money on this podcast, Casey's betting a McMuffin will tell you that. We gave that away there. So that gives you the clue there. If we're betting McMuffin,
we got a makeup note. I'll bet you $10,000.
You know
I guess we'll go high stakes and do a McGriddle.
I don't like McGriddles.
Another last NBA thing I thought was funny before we get to the NFL here was last night. I don't want to spend any time in the game, but because the Lakers just shellacked the Rockets. And the Rockets are obviously just too small, and they can't shoot and to shoot enough to beat this team.
Just glossed over how crappy the Rockets were.
Well, they just couldn't shoot well enough, and the Lakers' defense was exceptional against Harden. The way they zoned him up like that was terrific, and it was just amazing to me how Harden he lost his mid-range game. Like, if you go back and watch the Warriors Rockets 2015 conference finals game. Harden was just deadly on these like elbow step back jumpers against Clay. Just the whole time was hitting these against him. He probably could have took about 8 to 10 of those last game. Like, he got into the key, but he couldn't. It's like he didn't know what to do, and he's in this whole different world of like, it was either layup, floater, or out for a 3. I'm like, dude, what happened to your little step back? Just do it from like 12 feet. Like, it was weird how he's got so out of this game. Do you guys remember that though with Mikal, how he used to like take these little mid-rangers, and now I just don't feel like that's even part of their plan. And
there was one possession, and I was like, that's when I was like, I don't know, like maybe Mike D'Antoni like literally will bench them, but there was a pass to Austin Rivers. I'm not even playing with you. I don't think anyone was 7 feet around him, and he has like a 12-foot jumper. and he like dribbles around trying to get out to the 3-point and gets it stolen. I was like, dude, you're open, like from 12 feet, like wide open. And then you dribbled out to the 3-point line and got stolen. It just was like, dude, if you look at the games that we did rewatches and you see this, I'm like, man, like the coach would bench that guy. He's like, shoot the freaking ball, dude. You're wide open from 12 feet. Like,
out of all the games we rewatched, I was thinking about when watching them. I think back to the game we watched with Boston and Atlanta, and like all the footwork the post guys had and all that stuff, and like the Rockets play with like zero were part of that whatsoever. Remember the Celtics setting like screens 4 feet away from the hoop, like with 2 feet. And like the Rockets not even shooting like mid-range jumpers anymore. All right, so we got NBA. So you got NBA tonight. You got the Denver Clippers game. That should be fun to see who pulls it out. But week 1 NFL today. I know we're fired up. I've been getting just bombarded from Brian Johnson with Niners garbage all week and how fired up he is about football
my boy.
and ripping on the Patriots. And I was talking to Adam a little bit even about his Patriots, and he's fired up. And I know Aragon's probably pumped up about his Niners. We got all our other people fired up. Your dad's got his Joe Montana jersey proud there in the family room there, so I'm sure he's
above
ready.
the dinner table.
I know he's got it covering your faces. It's beautiful that
Does he just wear the jersey today? Just
Casey,
the jersey, no bottoms?
Casey,
I don't know why he would do that.
That's what I do on a Sunday. Just chill in the room, get some food, and put on my jersey and just relax. It's my PJs for the day.
Are you guys jersey guys? Are you jersey people? Like, do you wear other athletes' jerseys?
I haven't in a while. I will though. I'm not anti it. Like, think it's weird or anything. Especially if you're going to the game, but I don't do it like on a regular Wednesday. I might do it if I'm going to a bar.
The coolest jersey I've ever seen you have is the Barry Sanders Oklahoma State.
Oh, that one's fucking dope.
That was always my favorite part about Gary Radich on that thing was his jersey thing. Where he'd say, I'm not going to go to the park with another man's jersey on me.
I mean, I see his point. It is kind of weird. Like, but if you're going to a game and you're there, you're spending hundreds of dollars to watch these people. You obviously have some sort of infatuation with them.
Yeah, what the fuck? You gonna wear a Gary Radnich shirt when I go into his radio station? No,
but exactly. I think he'd be offended by it. I always my Hana, she bought me an A's jersey probably 6 months into us dating, and we're still married. Everybody, just so you know. And I never wore it ever. And she one time asked, she's like, "Why don't you ever wear the jersey you got?" I was like, I told her my theory. And she didn't understand it, so I guess for women.
Did it have a name on the back?
No, it was just a jersey, but I didn't.
Well, that's not weird at all, though. Yeah. Not a name on the back. It's just like wearing a T-shirt.
I think I can count on my hand. The jerseys that I have is Steph Curry, Jeff Hostetler, Charles Woodson, Darren McFadden, and I believe that's it.
I've had a lot of runners.
The one I really wanted. The one I wanted the most was Ricky Henderson, and I still want to get that one.
Ricky.
Yeah,
if I ever got a Barry Bonds one, I think the only jersey I ever got was that. Remember I had that random Bulls black one. That was about it.
And you had the tiny Chris Mullins jersey.
Christopher Mullins. Yeah, that's me. All right. Yes, I forgot about that.
I did have Latrell Sprewell actually. I did have that.
Yeah, but who has the most jerseys that we know?
Brian
Flanagan.
Brian Johnson, of course. Nobody wears more. Nobody has a better collection on earth.
Tim Couch.
Tim Couch. That's the best jersey. Brian,
there's a Tim Couch.
Yes, he has a Tim Couch jersey. He does have a cool Ray Allen Bucks jersey. That's one of my favorite ones he has. He also has a Reggie Miller Pacers, but he has some good ones. Yeah, but he has some random ones too. He has some random Niners guy too that's not very good anymore. That was on there for a while. But I don't know how he got into jerseys, but that was fun.
Speaking of jerseys, I've never seen my dad more disappointed after Christmas. My brother gets a Chris Mullin Pacers jersey, and he goes, "I don't want this. I want an Allen Iverson one." And I just saw my dad's face go, I didn't raise this kid. Why does he want an Allen Iverson? Chris Mullin. This is not my son.
That'd be like me getting Derek like a baseball glove, and he's like, "No, I wanted a Triceratops." That'd be what he said. All right, so NFL here real quick. Cardinals-Niners game today. Cards played the Niners tough last year. Tyler, I kind of think that this could be a sneaky trap game for the Niners. I know it's week 1, but they did play them a little tough last year. Murray.
I played him tough one of the games.
I feel like Murray was slightly overrated actually how he performed last year. But I think because of his like kind of some of his other things he does very well, it kind of gets overseen a little bit. So what do you think about the matchup today? You a little nervous about it, or do you think the Niners? I think they pull it out easily. How do you think it goes today?
I think Niners win by 3, maybe 4. I think the Cardinals will cover. If that's what you're asking.
No, I just was wondering if you think they'll win straight up.
Yeah, by 4.
By 4. Okay.
I'll go 27-23. I don't know how they'll get to 23, but 23.
I think Chandler Jones is their best chance to break it up because the last year's Cardinals defense was really horrible. I mean, it was like one of the worst in the league. I think they gave up the most yards. I think they were like 31st in points given up as well. They have Chandler Jones. They drafted Simmons, the rookie who you predicted to be rookie of the year defensively. So I think they got some good pieces to possibly be able to beat the Niners, but I just think the Niners run game is just going to – I mean, when you can run the ball in the NFL, it's just like – I mean, we've all played Madden, right? Like if you can get 4 yards every play, that's what you're doing. So, Case, you think the Niners pull it out today, week 1?
34-17, not a close game at all.
Murray.
I like to hear that. Who wins?
Hey, did you guys see that? Watch any of the Chiefs-Texans game Thursday? Did you guys watch any of that?
I saw the booing.
What did you think of? What did you think of the little windshield wipers on Andy Reid's little face? They're the little face.
The welder's mask.
The welders. We have those at school for teachers, like so they could like kind of wear them and stuff like that. It would crack me up with the little fog. You need like little wipers on it. And then I was like, what's the point of it when he's lifting up then and looking at it? It's just kind of all funny.
All for show.
It's all for show, exactly. So, before we get into a couple of picks this week, I'm going to pick 4 games, the spread. I'm going to have us every week we'll pick against it, and then we'll kind of see, where we're at winner-wise with it. We'll pick. I want to see who you guys think will be the breakout player this week for week 1.
Who do you think's going to win the Niners game?
Yeah, you didn't even say.
Well, everybody knows my favorite, my second favorite team, maybe now. Cardinals for sure.
Okay, so I want to hear your prediction.
So I have the Cardinals winning. I think they'll probably win. Let's say 27-26. That'll be my prediction. 27-26. Cardinals win on a late field goal.
No Debo, that's going to hurt them.
With no running out. So I'm gonna say the Cardinals pull it out. I'll wear my hat next podcast if they pull out the win there. The old school Cardinals had a hat. So I got the Cardinals.
Everyone's not going to believe you. They're going to think that you went to the store and bought one.
Was watching that first game I think the defenses are going to be at a massive disadvantage because if you haven't had any training camp or something like that, if I was an offense, why would you not go up tempo? Like the defense, I would think would be at a massive disadvantage communicating quickly, subbing. I mean, I would just think like you would. I don't know, like that Saints-Bucks game. I could see that just being a ridiculously high-scoring game today.
The what? Saints-Bucks?
I just think the defenses are going to be at a disadvantage because they're not going to be – they have had no training. Like, there's no Zoom. Like, I just feel like the communication is going to be way off to where if you're a team on offense and you kind of have any type of rapport that you've been together for a few years or maybe you have veteran players like the Bucks, I think that you should go up tempo to make these defenses who have not been practicing very much have to adjust to you. So I could see that being a lot of scoring these first couple weeks, like, even more so than there's been. So
especially with the lack of crowd noise. Like, if you're a away team, you can take advantage of going up tempo. It's harder when there's 50,000 people screaming. For sure. So, I don't know. I think that's going to be something to look out for. So, we'll see what happens there. You guys want to do the picks here, the spread? What my thought is we'll do 3 games, okay? We'll pick 3 games, and we'll kind of just keep track throughout the year. We'll
What do you think we'll do? Should we do 3 the same games or 3 different games?
I mean, I think next time we should know what we're doing and do 3 different, or just pick 3 games you like. And if they're the same, they're the same. If they're not, they're not.
Okay. So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So for the first game, I'm going to do Browns at Ravens.
Well, we're going to do all the same game this time.
Yeah.
Because we didn't come. Okay.
So Baltimore, I got the spread at 7. So that means they got to win by 7.5, obviously, to win. So what do you guys want to take? So Casey, do you have Baltimore winning, getting 7 points? They're playing Browns at Ravens. Remember, you do have the Browns going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm taking the Browns.
Now, do you think the Browns will win straight up, or are you going to take them on the points? Just curious.
They got to win by 7.
The Ravens win by 7.
Oh, I think the Browns win by 4.
So you think the Browns will win, so they'll definitely cover then.
Yeah.
All right, so got Browns and Tyler, what do you think on that game?
I'll take the Browns and the points.
So
I don't think they'll win straight up, but I'll take the Browns.
All right, I'm going to take the Ravens and the points.
I thought I had the Bucks in the Super Bowl.
You do, playing the Browns.
In the Browns, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm going to do the next game I want to pick is going to be the Dolphins at Patriots. Patriots 6.5-point dog, but I want to do a different one.
They're a favorite.
Or favorite. I'm not going to do the points on this one, though. I'm going to do the over and under. I think it's a tricky one, so I want to see what you guys got on this one. 42 is the over-under for Dolphins at Patriots. You going to go over or under on that one?
No, I'm going over.
Okay, so Casey, over on Dolphins, Pats. The
number
is 42. Tyler, what do you think?
I want the Patriots to win, and I think if they win, it's going to be over, but I want to go under. I'm going to go under.
It's kind of that was a tricky one for me because like how will Newton do in the first game and like the Dolphins, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of a tricky one for me.
I mean, it's 21 points apiece. So.
Yeah, I know, and it's like who I think like obviously they'll get there. I'm going to go under on it as well. I think they're going to finish just under that. And then the other game I want to do 4 because I wanted to do the Monday night one of the Monday night ones too. I want to do the Raiders and I want to do the Niners. So those will be our last. I'll do the 2 games here. So Raiders at Panthers. We'll do the spread on this one. Raiders -3.
No,
I'll take
Go ahead, Tyler.
I'll take Las Vegas.
Casey?
And the point.
Case?
Excuse me. I'm taking the Raiders. I mean, Panthers. I don't even think they win more than 5 games this year. But
I'm going to take the Panthers and the points.
Wow.
The Raiders. I just don't trust my own. I mean, I feel like when you watch this team enough, it's just like
you had them in the playoffs.
They have to prove to be
playoffs.
Yeah, I said the points. I didn't say they could not still win the game, right? I just said they can still win on a field goal, win by 1 point left.
I thought you said Panthers.
I'm picking the Panthers and the points.
The
Raiders, I still think the Raiders will win, but I don't think the Raiders will win by more than 3 points.
I thought the Panthers were the favorites.
No,
the Raiders are 3-point favorites.
Oh, I want the Panthers.
No, that changes it all. Then he's back to the Panthers. All right.
Yeah. I thought I was getting 3 points, not giving.
Okay, so you got that one there. I want to do the Niners one now too. So the Niners are, where is that at?
6, I think. Or 7.
I want to do the over under on this. I want to do over under on this one though. 48 points. Cardinals, Niners.
I'll take the over. I got
48
over.
points.
I'll take the under.
So Tyler, you got what?
Well, actually, what did
over
I say?
Over
34-17. So 54, 50, 44.
It's over 48.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to take the over then if I said 34-17.
So you got the over 2, Case?
Yeah.
All right. Let me do one more because it's the game of the week. and I think it's the one where both for me it's the most intriguing game of the whole week. Is Bucks Saints, or I believe
the Saints go marching.
Curious what you guys pick on this one after I looked at it last night, the spread. I feel like we're not going to do over-under. The over-under is 48. I feel like all of us would have picked over, so I'm not going to go over that one. So the spread, this is kind of an interesting spread to me. It's a hard one. And if you were actually putting money on this, it would be even harder. The Saints are favored by 3.5. So who do you take on that one? New Orleans.
I'm taking Tampa. I would take Tampa.
It's a tricky one because the Bucks are like their first game. That's why it's kind of a tricky one.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Saints.
Picking against his Super Bowl prediction.
I mean, I don't know.
They could still win.
The Bucks got to lose one game. Right?
Yeah, I was like, they're not going to go undefeated. But,
they might.
I'm going to take the Bucks. I'm going to take the Bucks as well. I think the Bucks. I think they lose this game, but I think they lose by 3. So I think the 3.5 gives me a little bit of the edge there with that one there. So
I think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Saints win by 20.
That's a good one there. I think 5 is a good number for us to pick because I think that's an odd number. So going in the future, we'll have 5 games. I'll pick ahead of time, but I think that'll be fun for us because it's easy. It's kind of easier to do that straight up. But when you start doing the points and the over under, it
makes it hard.
It's a little trickier.
I think people are.
Go ahead, T.
I think people are forgetting how good Tampa's defense is.
Well, who's the best player? I mean, nobody really knows who their player is.
Levante David.
Oh, hey, Tyler, when I was listening back to our
podcast. Gerald McCoy, too, though? Or did he leave?
I think he's retired now, is he?
Is he?
No, he went to
the
Rams,
I think.
Yeah, who's the other guy I'm thinking of, though?
They got Sue last year.
No, it's not him. But, yeah, anyways.
They had Quan Alexander.
I don't know who they got there for it. So,
Shaquille Barrett.
Week 1 should be good.
What were you going to ask?
NFL Week 1 should be good. I'm looking forward to it. The predictions, that's what we have there for you guys. I guess we'll see what happens.
There's more entailed defense or more entailed NFL picks below. Check that video out.
Yeah, comment on our below. Tyler's been doing the Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Fatboy FadeAway. Give us our insight there once in a while. Appreciate the couple.
Grade A trolling.
Yeah, and I appreciate what we get. Was it VAR podcast? He does football podcast. He reached out to us, gave a comment. Appreciate that, big guy. Keep up your good work.
Did he give us a comment?
Podcast over there. He did, and so I want to shout him out for his subscribing to our podcast and giving us a little shout out, and hopefully, and I'll do the same with him. So. Yeah, so that was good. So appreciate him doing that, and hope you guys enjoy the games and fun. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one next week. Peace.
Peace.
Later.
Later.